Here we go.
All right, man. What's going on, Mr. Cox?
It's great, man. Great. The last show of the year, the finale.
Yeah,
Ready
man.
for it.
Our last one, man, right before the new year. Thanks, everybody, man, for listening. We really appreciate it. We had a great year this year. Lots of stuff going on, man. Lots of subscriptions, people listening to our content. We think we got a good one for you today. We're going to talk about, why we decided to start this podcast, how it started, and, kind of how it's going. So we're going to be very loose in our content today just to kind of give you guys an inside look at how we do things. You got anything, Tone?
We're going to start from the beginning. Where else would we start from,
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people might say, why would we tell our story now? It's a good time to tell it. We're going into a new phase. We have a new podcast platform. We got, as you can see, we got hats now. We got shirts. All of them are for sale. I'll let you know how you can get them. We got our merch. We're gonna set up a store so people can get them and purchase them. We're trying to do big things. We're moving into the $50,000 to $60,000 viewership and everything. And we've gained more subscriptions in the last month than we have in almost a year. So we're getting some traction. And you can find us on YouTube at Gents Making Sense on YouTube channel. We got all our shorts. We got our long versions. We got everything on that channel. We also got Gents MS Spoutable. We can get it there. And we want y'all to go out and support us. And we're going to tell you why you should support us and everything on this episode. We need to acknowledge the growth of our podcast, explain why how the podcast originated, and then invite you, our listeners, on our journey in the upcoming year. We're looking forward to the next year, seeing how everything continue to grow and everything. I just want to start you off with this, Suleiman. You know that we were on a text messaging group, and we were like having this debate about what's going on in the world today, especially when the orange man got in office and everything. And we were talking about just life in general, sports and everything we're going at. Well, man, we talk all the time on this text message stream. Why don't we just put together a podcast? It's about 6 or 7 of us said, yeah, let's do a podcast. You can take it from there, how you thought about what was going on and everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what you said. I mean, we've been in a fantasy football league for years. I think it was started probably 20 years ago, close to 20 years ago with a few guys, and then I came in a little bit later. But we've been in this group for a long time, and we obviously talk sports and fantasy football, but we also talked about real issues that involved our community, the world, political things that were going on. And we said, you know what? We see all these podcasts out here basically with, ex-players or ex-entertainers, stars doing these podcasts. And I'm not going to say it's fake, but, it's essentially just an opportunity for those guys to get on there and talk about, whatever movie they're making or record that's coming out. They never really talk deeply about political issues. So Tony and I and another one of our friends got together and said, you know what, let's put a little podcast together that really essentially was just us, just normal African-American males in this country. And we started talking about politics and talking about how to help Black people out, things that we need to do better in our community. And it's really blown up. So that was kind of the beginning and how it started. It was just, we wanted to make a difference, but we didn't want to make a splash where people, say something controversial because people do that for stuff that go viral. Ours was just, we're going to have a normal conversation. And you guys are seeing exactly what that turned into.
It's our opinion. It's what we believe in, and everybody have an opinion. Like I said, we could say a whole lot of controversial stuff, but that ain't what we're looking for. We're not looking to go viral. We're just looking for a good conversation and talk about the things we know. We are people that join the military. We have a worldview of some things. We worked at the top level of the government. We're for the most part, we're successful in life and everything. And so we think we have something to share to our Black community. And we try to talk about the Black community the way we know best, be
Mhm,
it politics, be it sports, be it entertainment,
mhm.
whatever it is, it's our opinion and we're going to bring it to you. And we want to know, and we're starting to get a lot of comments here lately. We want to know what you think and what you think we could do better. If there's a subject you want us to talk about, let us know. We're going to try to get a better handle on that. For so long, we never got too many compliments. So I didn't look at it that much. But when you look at your video, you put it up at 2 o'clock in the evening, and by 8 o'clock at night, you got 500 views. And you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
something's happening here. And you got 2 likes or 15 likes, or you got 2 or 3 comments here or there. Nothing, it's not viral. If it goes viral, good, but it's not what we're looking for, to be honest with you. It's not what we're looking for. I always tell people when they say, "Why are you doing a podcast and what you think you're gonna accomplish by that?" And I tell people it's therapeutic for me.
yeah,
I get a chance to sit here and talk for anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, sometime an hour about something I have an opinion about. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If it's different, that's the world. We don't care. We're not superstars with millions of dollars, and we're not gonna brag. As you see, we don't have no studio, we don't have a backing, we don't have nothing. So this is genuine. And I just wanted to get that out there and everything. And that's our vision pretty much. Our vision is, let me see if I can bring this up. I'm gonna try to bring this up so you can see it as a one of our viewers.
okay.
So let's go with this, okay? I hope you see it. Uh can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So we're talking about our vision now. Gents Making Sense vision is to provide a platform for news, government, politics, current events, and sports from a Black perspective, offering insightful and thought-provoking commentary that informs and educates our audience. So that's basically what we wanted to do. Now, we also came about doing the mission statement also. Our mission statement is our mission is to deliver quality podcast content that highlights our unique perspective and experiences of the Black community in news, government, politics, current events, and sports. We aim to foster a greater understanding and appreciation of Black culture while providing engaging and informative discussion on these topics. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and I hope we've done a good job of it so far, and we're gonna continue to do our best. With that said, we want to talk a little bit about our vision, what we wanted the podcast to be. We talked about what we wanted the podcast to be with our vision statement and everything, but we wanted also to bridge between personal experience and collective wisdom. Guests or our other host that comes on, especially Chris Baker, when he's on and I'll go ahead and say this because it's no secret. Chris works with the federal government, and he's sometimes he can't say everything he wants to say on this podcast because he works with the federal government. There's a conflict of interest there. But when we add people like Chris to our podcast, you're adding a wealth of experience. You got Chris, who's worked at the White House for several presidents now. Well, not several, but at least 3 to 4 presidents now. You got myself, who worked for the Secretary of the Air Force, and all of us who's worked at Defense Intelligence Agency at the highest level of Defense Intelligence Agency. So we know a little bit about the military. We have situational awareness of what's going on in the world, and with that, the biggest challenge that I think we want to try to do is to uplift our people, challenge and inspire our people. Take it from there for Ms. Suleiman. And before Suleiman talks about this, I want to let everybody know that Suleiman is basically the driving force behind this. I do all the technical work, but it's his insight and his thoughtfulness and his conversation that brings out this thing. I was never supposed to be in front of the camera anyway, but we couldn't get our other guys to come into the studio. So this is how we get the duo. And I wouldn't do it over with nobody else differently and everything. So Suleiman, go ahead with that.
No, I appreciate that, and I mean, I think you hit all the points with why we decided to do this podcast. You know, I mean, obviously, guys can look at us, and I mean, we're not millennials. You know, we come from a different generation, and you know, it was important to our fathers and our grandfathers and people in our community when we were coming up is that we understood our history, that we understood where our people came from, the things that our people have accomplished, and that we carry that burden, excuse me, we carry that honor of what our people have done in the past. So when we come and we're talking to you, we're speaking from our experiences, like Tony talked about, our military experience. All of us were in leadership in the federal government and me at the local level. We have a different perspective, a different understanding of what things like image and how you carry yourself, how that matters to our community. I've always said, particularly on this podcast, is that I think a lot of our community, a lot of the Black community is lost. They don't have anything to grab onto and to say, here's what I want to do to accomplish it. So, what I've wanted to do with the podcast is just share some of my experiences and how people have helped me or educated me to get to the position that I currently sit in. So we don't come on here thinking that we're better than people. We don't come on here talking down to people. We just come on talking to our community and saying things like stand up. You know, you don't need entertainers, rappers, movie stars to tell you how to act. Do it yourself, stand on all your toes, chest out, and be proud. So that's why we come on here every week and talk about topics. We don't go super deep into topics. We just talk about things that we understand and how we think it affects our community. So that's what this podcast is about. And that's all we want it to be about. As Tony said earlier, we're not looking to get rich. I have a fairly good job. Tony's a retired guy. It's not about money for us. It's really about just putting our voice out there and helping some of our up and coming generation see things in a different perspective.
Yeah, thank you. Well said. We've talked about the early days, how we brainstormed, no equipment. We got better equipment
Right.
now for the most part. We will be doing some studio recording sooner or later. That's important on our list to try to get in a studio where Suleiman and I are together and we have a guest in there with us.
Mhm.
For those of you that don't know, I'm in Atlanta. Suleiman is in the DMV in that area. So we're really looking forward to getting some studio time and going to a studio and have a guest and have a full episode like that. That's what we look forward to. The turning point for our podcast, I believe, is when we went from 10 views to 20 to
Right.
30 to
Right.
50 to 1,000. When you start getting in 1,000, you're like, wait a minute, somebody like what we're saying,
Right.
or
Yeah.
somebody is looking at what we're saying,
Yeah.
at
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere or sometime. Yeah. So that was a turning point for us. And like I said, unfortunately, the guys that are with us still work in the federal government. Uh, with the
They're
Orange
limited.
Man,
They're limited on what they can say.
yeah, with the Orange Man in power, they're limited in what they're saying and stuff. And you saw how Doja was acting, so we didn't want to put them in a situation that would compromise them. Uh, what Gents Making Sense means today, I believe, is us trying to tell people that they matter, tell our
Uh-huh.
people that they matter. And that we're not to be, and I think Suleiman said this more than once and said it very well, that we don't have to be represented by superstars and millionaires and billionaires. Regardless of how much money they got, how much pool they got, there's still one person, one vote. And we want you to know that your vote means everything. When you give your vote to somebody for dollars, you're really just passing the buck, literally. So we want people to keep their vote, think with their own brain, make their decisions with their own brain. And we want to let you know historically and now that we matter for the most part. Can you talk? Can you talk a little bit about what Gents Making Sense mean to you today, Suleiman?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of the fact that we can get on here and have intelligent conversations without berating each other, without berating other people,
Yelling.
yelling, screaming, just having basic conversations about our community. I mean, that's one of the things that I completely dislike about some of the podcasts that are out there, some of the conversations that take place. It's always about demeaning someone in order to get your point across. If you can't have a conversation with someone and to bring someone closer to you or to your side of the thought, then you have a communications problem. Yelling someone down, shouting somebody down doesn't change. Doesn't change. So I'm proud of the fact that we can have those conversations. I'm also proud of the fact that sometimes on our podcast, we're able to bring information to people that may not know it. We talked about stories of Black folks, of what they've accomplished in this country that some people may not even know took place. We talk about Black inventors that haven't gotten their due. We talked about people who had significant impact on the United States. We talked about Dr. Ben Carson. I don't agree with his political views, but the guy is very good at what he does. He's an excellent surgeon. And we brought that up. That's an
Just wish he would stick with it. We just wish he would stick with it.
Right. We wish he would stick with it, but I'm not going to beat the guy because he believes that. I have no issue with that. I like his work. I've read about his work. He's a very good surgeon. He's one of the best in the United States in the history of our country. We talked about again, the inventions. And then we've talked about how some of the policies of certain parties in this country, how it affects our community. And I wish that I hope that the stuff that we bring to people allows them to jump online and read up on their own. We don't want to dictate to you what you should vote for or who you should vote for. But if we trigger something in you where you go, you know what, I want to know more about that, and you go out and try to find that information, that's what I'm proud of. So that's why I do this podcast because one, I like to talk. So it gives me the opportunity to talk, but also I get the opportunity to give people a little bit of information coming from the Black community, two Black men that they may not have heard before.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's therapeutic for me because sometimes I need to talk things out
Right.
and make me try to look. This is what it does. I'm gonna stand up and show you my shirt from Power in Black.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. That's what I want somebody to do, and that's why we are here to try to make it make sense to the regular people. Every day, I don't wanna say everyday Joe, but the everyday person that wakes up every morning and go to work, hardworking people that know what hard work is about. We wanna make it make sense, and that's why I bought this shirt 'cause I wanna advertise it. But, where we going? What the future? What would the future hold for this, podcast? I think we talked about it. Future topics are gonna be similar to the ones we talked about in the past. Whatever we talk about, whatever the topic is going to be related to the Black community. Not that we don't care, not that we're not Americans and that we don't care about any other color, but I think that what we have to do is talk about what we know, and we know about the Black community. We are here every day. We live it every day, so it's something we can talk about. Our format is gonna be the same. We'll record during the week and we'll put the episodes out, we'll put the shorts out, and we'll welcome your feedback. Like I said, we're gonna try to do some studio time where we can go live and maybe answer questions while we're live. We're gonna try to collaborate with more people. We collaborate with a host of people. We have a great group of people that want to come out and do podcasts, but something is holding them back. We're gonna keep trying to nurture them, bring them along. Nikki, trust, she's on fire. We've been trying to get her podcast off the ground. We haven't been able to get it off the ground yet. She's been lifing, so she been doing that. So as soon as she get an opportunity to come back, we'll get her back on the show. We had some great ratings when she was on the show talking about Black women in general. And we'll do some more of that. We'll get women up here, black women up here to talk about black women also. Just because it's gents making sense, that don't mean we gotta talk about gents all the time. Tell us what you wanna see in the future, Suleiman, and what you think the legacy of gents making sense will be, starting a legacy.
Yeah. So first part, I mean, similar to what you said. I mean, what I'm looking for next year is for us to bring more guests on. I mean, Tony has, and I know I do, and a lot of our other friends, we have people in very high places in the government, as local government around the country. And what I'd like to do is bring those people on and let them talk about how they got to where they are, how it is in the position they are, so that some of our up and coming generation, because they're constantly told that you got to do this, you got to be degrade women, or you got to be loud and wrong, or in order to be successful. And what I want to do is use this platform to show people that there are lots of African American men and women that are in positions due to their abilities in this country. Not to get off topic, but I'll just say that a couple weeks ago, our vice president went and stood up in the crowd and said, white people don't have to apologize for being white anymore. Okay, that's fine.
Stupid.
What I want this podcast to do is to say to black people, you don't have to apologize for being who you are. You don't have to apologize for your ancestors and your people who came before you for being successful. You don't have to look somebody in the face and they look at you and say, oh, you're only in that position because you're black. No, I'm in this position because I'm better than you. I'm in this position because I work harder than you. I'm in this position because I'm more educated than you. So I will use the vice president's terminology and say, black people do not have to apologize for being black. So I hope that this podcast will encourage people to acknowledge our ability in this country and what we've accomplished, and don't let people take that from you. So bring on more people. A friend of mine that works in my county, he's retired commander in the Navy. I'd like for him to come on. I have a couple buddies of mine that I was in the military with that are PhDs, very high in their profession, so that people see something different. And
Hmm.
stop looking at entertainers or singers or musicians or movie stars as your example. And then I'll close by saying this. I'm a huge fan of Malcolm X, and Malcolm X said in an interview, and I think we played it earlier in the year, is he essentially said, show me a community where their leaders are rappers, entertainers, musicians, or, actors. We're the only community in the United States where we have people who have no political knowledge, have no education on what this country's been through, but feel like they need to talk about those issues. No other community does that. We're the only community where somebody like Charlamagne the God is talking about politics, or Stephen A. Smith is talking about politics when he has no education or no knowledge about it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because another one of our most popular topic over the past year has been the media. And so we're going to talk about Charlemagne the God first part of the next season, because Charlemagne has done something that's incredible, regardless of what you think about him and everything. He signed a $200 million deal with iHeartRadio, and his platform for podcast called the Black Effect Podcast is blowing up, and he's got a lot of good content up there, and I have to commend him for bringing a different group of people up there on those podcasts and giving them a shot and everything. Charlemagne, anytime you want to, you can invite us to be on your Black Effect podcast, But these are the kind of things that we want to talk about: is the media and how they portray us as black people, and how we need to turn the narrative. Get on a subject that you talked about a few minutes ago is what one of those things where you use the vice president's word, where he said white people don't have to apologize for being white anymore. We go off the deep end, we start arguing why he do this and why he do that, when we can just say, okay, you said that. So now, as black people, we don't have to get we don't have to shy away from saying we're black and we're proud. Throw your hand up. We're black and we're proud.
Absolutely.
Do it, you know? You can be proud of you. You ain't gotta make no excuses for being white. I don't think I've ever said you had making an excuse for being white. I think what I've been saying is you need to stop trying to put somebody else down, another group of people down, so you could be considered better. That's not, that's crazy.
But that's him. I mean,
Yeah,
that's him.
exactly.
That's his administration.
Exactly.
I always say to people is there's no reason for you to be mad at me. You need to look at yourself. Put a mirror in front of you and ask yourself, why am I not as successful as I think I should be? It had nothing to do with anyone else. It has to do with you.
Yeah.
And
There you
and
go.
and and I have to look at the vice president and say, what type of person are you? Where you felt it was a need when Charlie Kirk was murdered to go onto his podcast. This is a guy who basically said black people are stupid, that we're intellectually inferior. This is a guy that said that when I get on a plane and I see a black pilot, I wonder if he's qualified. The vice president of the United States went onto his podcast and did a podcast after he got murdered. And then 2 weeks later or 2 months later, you come on and go on the stage at, Turning Point, or I call it Toilet Pot USA, uh, and say white people don't have to apologize for being white. Who's told you you need to apologize?
That's what I'm saying.
No
Ain't
one said
nobody
you need to
say you got to
apologize. We
apologize.
just said that the world needs to be a fair playing ground.
Yep.
And that just because you are white or you share a certain reflection doesn't mean that you should get the job. You need to earn it. So I only brought that up because, one, it's incredible to me that somebody who's supposed to be the vice president of the United States, not the vice president of just white people, would get onto a public stage and express that.
Yeah.
Go
Stupid.
ahead.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. As we close out this segment, this episode, I'm sorry, the finale for the year, I just want to say that we have much gratitude to our listeners, viewers. We want to reflect on brotherhood, purpose, and growth. This is an invitation to listeners to share their own stories with us or tell us what they would like for us to talk about. We got one last time. I want to give you our particulars and everything and do some shout outs and whatnot. Our particulars, Gents Making Sense, YouTube channel. Catch it anytime. There's content out there. We've got a lot of content out there, and we're going to have more next year. Or Spoutable at Gents MS Spoutable. Those are the two sites we generally put out there. We want to try to get on iHeart, but that's a goal for next year. I also have in the last few episodes have been talking about Black owned companies and products. Supplement, the water bottle company. They make water bottles, excellent product. I have my own water bottle. Go get yours. We don't have to buy from the white community all the time. Support our brothers and sisters and everything. Actively Black is another one. They competition with Adidas and Nike. Active wear, good products and everything. Go out there, support them. Power in Black .com. That's where I got my sweatshirt from. Make It Make Sense. They have a host of stuff. Right now they got 35% off. If you get an opportunity, go out there and hit them up. I think that we have a responsibility to do this on our site and everything. The last one I champion is Zero Prostate, ZeroCancer.com. As you know, that's something that's near and dear to my heart and everything. And we also would like to do more shows about health too on our shows next year and everything. And lastly, Suleiman, on another note, anything you really
Yeah,
want to
on
talk
another
about?
note, I mean, I'll really quick, well, two things. One is just to piggyback on what you said. I mean, you're 100% right. All we're saying is that there are options out there for you to purchase materials and to purchase products. And then my second piece on that is we as a community need to start understanding where we buy products from and what they are doing behind the scenes. There are a lot of companies out here that target us for their products, but behind the scenes are voting and giving money to politicians and political parties that are completely against us. And you need to keep that in mind. When they come into your community and they put black faces on commercials, and they got certain entertainers and athletes who are out there pimping their product. Keep in mind that they are supporting the same politicians that are trying to take your health care away from you, that are destroying all of our DEI programs, that are okay with law enforcement or public servants doing what they do to our community. You need to understand that. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you who to boycott. I'm just telling you, you need to understand that there are companies that are targeting you that do not have your best interest in mind, and you shouldn't spend money there. Second thing is, I just want to talk for a quick second because I'm on the entertainers thing, is that Nicki Minaj, and I've said this for over a year, is that we need to understand in our community that there are a lot of people out here that are, quite frankly, and I'll just put it very bluntly, they're broke. They have no money, and they will do and say anything to get money. No one is running after Nicki Minaj. No one's buying Nicki Minaj's records anymore. She's cut up her body and done all type of ridiculous stuff to her body. It's gone. What she used to have is no longer there. So she needs money. And some of our political parties are willing to give these people money to come out and say and do the stuff they say. We've seen a long list of people like her. Every 2 or 3 months, you see somebody come out and say something like what she said, to try to stunt our growth in the Black community. Nicki Minaj is not one of us. She's not an FBA. She's not a foundational Black American. She wasn't born here. Her people didn't go through what our people went through. She has no loyalty or allegiance to us as Black Americans. And what she said and what she did the other day is an example of that. So keep that in mind when you go out and buy records or you go out and pay for concert tickets, that these are the same people who stand up on the stage and will stand by the people who don't have your best interest in mind. She's not the last person. There's going to be another one. They're going to find another Black face that needs money, and they're going to pay them to come out and do exactly what it is that they can't say.
Yeah. The only thing I gotta say about it, sometimes they don't even need it. They just greedy.
Right.
But thanks a lot for that. On another note, I'm just gonna say I wrote this down so that I wouldn't mess it up and everything. So I'm just gonna say it and paint the picture of our podcast. It says it wasn't in a studio, it wasn't planned, it wasn't polished. It was a few brothers that were tired, inspired, frustrated, hopeful, talking about life, talking about what it means to be black, be a black man trying to navigate purpose, pleasure, pressure, possibility. And somewhere in the conversation, someone said, "Man, we should be able to do this. We can't be the only one feeling this way." Somebody said that. That was the seed that started what we have today, which is Gents Making Sense. There was no business plan, there was no studio, nothing like that. Just regular brothers looking for space to be able to be vulnerable, wasn't weakness, space where wisdom wasn't a gatekeeper, and space where the world could hear black men think out loud, not just react, not just survive, but reflect on what we've seen over the years and what we think we're going to see in the future and stuff. I think that's what's the great thing about this podcast is that we don't do a lot of studying. We don't do a lot of thinking about what we're going to do and what we're going to say. It's what we live every day. And that's great. For me, it is anyway. So with that said, anything final before we get out of here, Suleiman?
Nah, man, this is a good episode. I appreciate it, man. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to next year, man, and seeing everybody. And thanks again, man. We appreciate
yeah,
all your support.
yeah. Thanks again. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.